it, guys! It's a Friday! Yeah! End of the week. Oh, see, I'm excited already. End of the week. I've had me mock chopped. It's a bit shorter now. Got me lime put in. And quiff. So today's video is something I haven't done before. Slightly different. Basically, it's a new series that I'm starting. I've decided to do a graphic design 101 kind of deal. So this is the first episode, and today I want to talk to you guys about the use of graphics and the best type of graphics to use. So let's crack on with it, as they say. Basically, this first episode is going to be vectors, about vectors. What are vectors, why you should use vectors, and how to create vectors. So to start off with, a vector image or graphic or anything as a vector is a graphic or image that you can expand and condense and warp, manipulate, and it will always stay crisp, no matter how big you blow it up or whatever. So if you see all these graphics that are on billboards, on the side of buildings, all that kind of stuff, they are vector because they've been blown up and they're still really crisp and clear, basically. So the importance of a vector image is the main importance of graphic design. You need to have a solid graphic that is going to be transcendable across multiple different platforms and formats. So you need to have that crisp image so it can be used across many different aspects of a company you're designing for example. So to create a vector image, I personally, there's other platforms out there, but for me the best one is Adobe Illustrator. Everything in Adobe Illustrator is all vector based. Yes, you can rasterize them and turn them to bitmaps, but you really do not want a bitmap image when you finish. So I use Illustrator simply because of its ease of use, its functionality, and that it works completely all in vector. Now you can create certain vectors in Photoshop, but if I'm doing that, I always then export them into Illustrator and make sure they are vectors, because I have done that before and I've finished a design, and because it was designed in Photoshop, it said it was vector, but when you blow it up, it actually gets a little bit rough around the edges, and you don't want that. You want it to be completely crisp, basically. Is what you're going for. That's what you need. Yeah, so that is the program that I use for vectors. It's very simple to use. You can download a free trial of it for a month, and then obviously you've got to pay after that. I am currently using Adobe CC, so the latest one, the Creative Cloud versions, and it works fantastic. It is a brilliant piece of software. I have the whole Creative Suite, so that includes Lightroom, Photoshop, InDesign, and Illustrator. Now I'll go through what I use each program for. So as I said, Illustrator is all vector for graphic design and logos and that kind of stuff. Moving down to Photoshop. Photoshop is for touch-ups. So if I do some photography or I take some photos for the company, I will put them into Photoshop first, take off any blemishes. If I need to delete the background and whack in a backdrop background, I can do that in Photoshop. I then import that into Lightroom and do the final mini little touch-ups to that image, specifically in Lightroom, because Lightroom is the photographer's editing studio, basically. There's many out there, but I use Lightroom. You can adjust the hue and the contrast and the RGB colors, and yeah, it's brilliant. Awesome. And then you move on to InDesign. Now, InDesign, I've been using for many years now. It is a program to do layouts, magazines, ebooks, books, all sorts. It's basically a layout program. I created all the company's ebooks in InDesign, imported the graphics as vectors from Illustrator. Now, to be able to work on the Adobe suite across the board is fantastic because you can open up any Adobe file and format in any of the software. So if I design something in Illustrator and then want to import that into InDesign, I can. If I want to import that into Photoshop, I can, and vice versa. And the same with Lightroom. You can import that straight from Lightroom straight into one of the other Adobe softwares. So that's a bit of a rundown of vectors, why you should use vectors, and the different programs that I use. And the main difference is in a vector is that it is crisp from start to finish. Like if it's a massive graphic, it's going to be crisp. And a bitmap is pixelated, so it uses pixels to create the image. So if you were to really zoom in on a graphic, say you drew a line and you thought, oh, that's crisp, that's fine, it's only a line. If you zoom in on that and it's a bitmap, say like in Photoshop, it will be little tiny squares all across it. It's quite amazing actually. But if you do that in Illustrator, you won't see that at all. It's one solid black line or blue line or red line or whatever line you want to color you want to put on it. Yeah, so this is the start of a new series, all about graphic design, tips and tricks, how to design, the different format factors, what they are, how to understand them. Yeah, I hope you like this series. I'm going to enjoy making it because obviously this is my passion. I love design. I'm a graphic designer, so I know all about it. And I think it'd be a nice series to roll out on top of all the other content that I'm going to be putting out, basically. So I hope you enjoyed the first episode of Graphic Design 101, which is vectors and software. Next episode, I will talk about the various tools you can use on the design software. So the manipulation tools, the filters you can put on, the feathering the edges, drop shadows, all that good stuff that you see in design. So I hope you enjoyed it. As I said, like, comment, subscribe if you did, and also comment if you want to see some more graphic design content. I will also, I'm toying with the idea of starting a co-inside series of Photography 101 as well. So that's in the pipe works. I got a few little things that I want to do for that one, which will probably start rolling out next week, I think. Monday might be the first of the photography series, and then Wednesday will be the second episode of the graphic design series. But in between, it won't be just graphic design and photography. As you know, my channel is like all kinds of crap. There'll be reviews, there'll be Jord watches, Jord reviews, Jord reacts. All the stuff that I've done and talked about will be always coming out anyway. So yeah, hope you enjoy the video. Like, comment, subscribe, and flick your bell. Woo! And I will see you guys on Monday for hopefully the first in the series of Photography 101. So keep on snapping.